What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you saw the title. We've got 20 fragrances here to cover all 4 seasons. So what does that encompass exactly? I wanted to gather a rotation of 5 for each of the 4 seasons, totaling 20 fragrances. Some mid-level designers, some affordable stuff, maybe sprinkled in with some niche, to give you a few options on kind of where my head's at on maybe getting a really good rotation, a fragrance wardrobe that's seasonally appropriate. So if you get something along these lines, because you don't necessarily need all 20, but if you can get 1 or 2 from each of these, something in that realm, you can have yourself a really good rotation for all 4 seasons. So let's discuss, shall we? Stay tuned. Only right that we start with the current season that we're in, right? We might as well start with summer. And we're going to start with one that's very affordable, sub $30 price point. We're talking about Mandarina Duck Vida Loca. So why did I pick this as one of the cheapy options? So it kind of walks the path of Le Parfum from Jean-Paul Gaultier without having the same notes, but similar accords, similar scent profile. Instead of bergamot, you have orange. Instead of iris, you have lavender and sage, but you still have tonka bean, coconut, all those key factors, citruses, tonka bean, coconut, and some florals, even with a little bit of that green element that you get from Le for a fraction of the price. Doesn't perform as well, but still smells pretty good. Actually doesn't come across as synthetic as the more expensive fragrance. This is a phenomenal alternative without being a clone of any sort to said fragrance, Le Parfum, which is my favorite from Jean-Paul Gaultier. I've spoken very highly of this one since I got it last year, and it just felt right to put here. If you're looking for a great affordable option for your summer rotation, you're going to want to look into something like Vida Loca from Mandarina Duck. Now, as far as maybe stepping it up a little bit higher priced in designer, this is actually a new release from this year. You'd be fine with pretty much anything in this line, but I chose for the Acqua de Jo line to go with the new Profondo Parfum. This is a very ambery, rich, aquatic. You lose some of the mineral notes and the green elements of the original Profondo, and it's a bit more warm, resinous, and refined, while still being extremely aquatic, summertime friendly. Long-lasting, not a loud fragrance, has a nice richness to it while still being a bright blue aquatic. This is really good stuff. I think it's one of the better releases of the year. Let me rephrase that, one of the best releases of the year, and they brought back the magnetic cap. Yay for us that like magnetic caps. Again, great performance without being obnoxiously loud, and a little different. That's why I don't know what it's actually classed as, but I've been rolling with amber aquatic because I think it just suits it. Maybe look into this one this summer. Profondo Parfum. Now let's say you want to spend a little more, get more of an elegant grown man type of aquatic blue versatile fragrance. You're going to want to check out my favorite with Seraphim Blue from Zaharoff, their newest release. You can see how much I've been using that so far this summer. So this one's got this wintergreen aromatic freshness at the top, lavender, eucalyptus, cypress, a little crisp tone from some apple without making it a very fruity type of opening. Then you have a little bit of coconut, add some creaminess. A nice powdery floral tone from some Florentine iris. Then you have a nice salty sea breeze type of accord from some marine notes, a little bit of seaweed, things of that nature. You get aquatic, you get green, you get fresh, you get floral, you get clean and musky, you get a touch of sweetness. You get a little bit of everything to give some complexity, some depth, some nuance to the fragrance with really good longevity. Another one not obnoxiously strong, but high level versatility, but also offers a touch of class at the same time for something so highly versatile. And that's Signature Seraphim Blue from Zaharoff. How about another cheap, fun fragrance? This is one of the more recent summertime releases from the CK1 line. This is One Summer Daze from Calvin Klein. This has a beautiful citrusy kumquat note, matches the color scheme. So you get this fruity freshness, very airy, bright, watery, clean and musky. Has some vigor to it. Very vibrant fragrance, not a strong performer. 3 or 4 hours in longevity at best, maybe an hour of projection. It's just a fun refresher on a hot summer's day. Cheapies like this always have a spot in a wardrobe in the summertime. And you can't go wrong, honestly, with any of the CK1 summer flankers. But for me, this is possibly their best one they've ever done. Still easy to find for around 20 bucks from discounters online. Check out CK1 Summer Daze. Now let's go upper end for our final pick in the summer rotation. You know, I really believe it's quintessential summer. I think it's the best coconut fragrance of all time, personally, so naturally I had to include Creed Virgin Island Water. the pina colada fragrance, the end-all be-all, the coconut fragrance everybody wants to have in their collection from their house. Maybe they don't want it to smell exactly the same, but they want it to get the same praise that something like Virgin Island water gets. Lime, salt, coconut, boozy rum, juicy florals, nice sweetness. This is just phenomenal. Perfectly unisex. It performs really well. If it doesn't perform really well for you, it's one of two things. A lot of you have heard me harp on it many times because it's the truth. Nose sensitivity, and olfactive perception and fatigue, or skin chemistry, because these are not watered down fragrances. Admittedly, they're not performing the way they once did. There are reformulations. That's a very true thing with Creed, but Virgin Island water seems to have withstood the test of time with being an above average performer. It's never been a beast, but it's still a relatively strong fragrance, 7-8 hours in longevity for me with every version batch from different years that I've tried. Just a beautiful, quintessential vacation in a bottle summertime fragrance. It's Creed's Virgin Island water. Let's bounce around a little bit. We did a warmer month. Let's do a slightly cooler month. Let's go with the fall season, with autumn. Here's where you're going to start diving into more spices, tobaccos, heavier fragrances overall, but maybe not too heavy, because depending on where you live, you probably still have some warm weather, like I do here on the Gulf Coast. But I think one that's new to my collection that really suits the season very much is Yves Saint Laurent's L'homme EDP Parfum. So just recently picked this one up. Haven't spent a ton of time with it. I had tested it at Sephora previously. I've been wanting to get a bottle. Does smell very similar to the original with more of a boozy tone to it. It's very, very woodsy. It's a little bit heavier without being a super heavy, like gotta be in cold weather type of fragrance. I think it's phenomenal for the transitional seasons. I think it works fine in spring, but some people have very hot spring seasons, and this might be a little much, but fall, I think, is the sweet spot for this fragrance. Average to slightly above average, 6 to 8 hours type of longevity with this one. Has that gingery, woody, aromatic smell, just heavy on the woody side of things with, like I said, that added, I believe it's a cognac note, that nice, sweet, boozy feel. That doesn't make it too sweet, but definitely warms it up. Gives it some richness. The color of the fragrance really matches the feeling and the just the overall vibe to it. You know, great daytime wear, but even better evening wear in the fall. YSL L'homme EDP. Timeless, classic masculine stuff with a little bit of a modern twist. How about we talk about Drakkar Intense from Guy Laroche? So here, you get that classic aromatic, spicy barbershop aftershave type of smell. A little bit of absinthe here gives it the kind of this lime boozy feel with some added vanilla. Gives a little bit of this modern tone to a timeless barbershop style. Above average performance. Another one that I get about 6 to 8 hours in longevity. You can get this one for around $30, $25, depending on where you find it. You might even find it cheaper. I've heard people say they found this for like $17 at certain rack stores and stuff. You never know, but if you're paying around 30 or less, you're doing good with this one. It's masculine. It's slightly matured. Young fellas might not enjoy this one too much, but any of you that like that timeless style with a little bit of a twist, that modern feel of sweetness and a little bit of booze, it's good stuff. It's a good cheapie. Really good cheapie, honestly. Perfect for the fall is Drakkar Intense. So this is priced in the range of a niche fragrance for being a designer, but man, this is one of my faves. I have a big 200 ml bottle. It's, to me, the best version of Sauvage. It's Sauvage Parfum. Yeah, a Sauvage flanker. Why this one? Why not the Elixir? Because I prefer it. It's resinous, smoky, a little sweet, still has some spices, but still manages to tie to that DNA better than the Elixir, because even though they don't list Ambroxan, I still smell that metallic shower gel Ambroxan DNA here. This is so good, so underappreciated. You can wear this one year round. Honestly, I've worn this on hikes in the summer in Colorado Springs, 90-degree heat outside. It works, but ideally fall, winter, spring, probably the best seasons, more so fall, because it has that smooth, refined, resinous feel to it, where it's not super spicy, but it's nice and ambery and smoky, has this balsamic aromatic feel to it, with a touch of sweetness, some citrus, and like I said, still maintains that fresh, metallic shower gel feel. Great performance. Anywhere you're going to read about it being a weak performer, I promise it's nose fatigue with this one. It's like almost a guarantee you're going to experience nose fatigue with this one. I promise you that's what it is. This is not weak, guys. This is way louder, way longer lasting than anyone other than me wants to give it credit for. I promise. I've had this one hit me 9-10 hours later and it smells like I just sprayed it because my nose comes back to life. just because you might not be able to smell you after a little while. Doesn't mean everybody else around you doesn't. It smells amazing, and it's great for the fall. Sauvage Parfum. So I mentioned tobaccos a moment ago. One of my favorites, probably my favorite for the fall season specifically, because it's a nice leafy aromatic tobacco that blends a little bit of wood, smoke, spices, sweetness, booze, a little bit of everything that would encompass a good tobacco fragrance. Makes a great tobacco fragrance in Signature Tabac from Zaharoff, our second Zaharoff, one of our only two here in this 20, because it just suits it so well. This is such an elegant, gentlemanly, daily wear type of fragrance that shows you mean business without being too serious and too assertive. It's on the louder side. Less is more with this fragrance. You can dial it up a little bit with the sprays, but I wouldn't go crazy and heavy spray this one. I think it's just going to be a bit too much. You can go as low as 2 sprays and make a nice impression, on up to 5 to 7, which is where I think the sweet spot falls for this one, maybe in that 4 to 7 spray range. Great longevity, great projection and sillage. Again, depending on your spray regimen, might be a little bit too much, might be just right. It all depends. But this is one that I think works well with a t-shirt on up to a suit and tie. This is highly versatile, especially in the fall season. Daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. One of the best tobaccos money can buy, in my opinion, is a Zaharoff Signature Tabac. And last, this is around 40 bucks, okay? There's an argument for it being the best fragrance from Mercedes. There's a real strong argument for it. It's in the realm of a Dior Fahrenheit, with a little bit of a synthetic sweet oud. You get leather, you get smokiness. It's actually a little bit deeper than Fahrenheit. It's Mercedes-Benz Le Parfum. You get that violet leaf smell, that petroleum type of smell, spices, a little bit of booze. That's a nice added touch. That leathery facet from Fahrenheit. Like I said, it's kind of like an evolved, more modern twist on Fahrenheit, because Fahrenheit's timeless, like 80s, I believe, when it came out. 80s powerhouse. All-time great stuff, Fahrenheit. It's kind of a little bit more of a modern twist. That boozy element here really adds to it. Kind of like the boozy element you get from Fahrenheit Le Parfum, but still not the same fragrance, because you have this synthetic oud that's in here. Great performance. You get 4 ounces of this stuff. A beautiful presentation that I don't keep the boxes anymore, but I still have that. It looks like a leather luxury watch roll case. I have it right over there on a shelf. It's just out of reach off camera, so I'm not going to go run to get it, but you get a lot for your money here with this one. And sure, it'll work fine in the winter, but I think ideally, see this brown color, browns, oranges, yellows, the fall autumn theme, fall harvest color scheme, it really fits it. This is phenomenal for the fall season. I highly encourage checking this out. I put off getting it for a really long time. I had tested it countless times. I used to work at Mercedes and we had testers of this. I used to smell it all the time. Such a great fragrance. Not for everybody, but for any of you grown folks that are looking for something special without spending a lot of money for the fall, Mercedes Le Parfum is the way to go. So let's bounce back to a warm season for most places. Let's talk about some spring fragrances. Now, we've got some variety here. We've got some two that are really expensive, some affordable niche, mid-level designer, and something nice and cheap that if you've been watching this channel for a while, yeah, 2 of these 5 you're expecting. Might as well start with one of them, my favorite cheapie. John Varvatos Artisan Blue. Don't let the name and the color fool you. This is extremely green. Tarragon, fresh cut grass, chayote, green citruses, green elements, basil, leaves, cut. Like I said, everything about it is green. They should have named it Artisan Green. Not all that much of a blue fragrance. It actually has a relatively natural smell to this one. It doesn't smell highly synthetic. Not a strong performer, like a 4-hour fragrance. Maybe an hour projection if you're lucky. But it blends fresh greens with spicy greens. It's aromatic, a little woodsy. There's a fresh, watery nature to this without making it very juicy, if that makes sense. Just such a good fragrance. My second bottle of this one. I love this one. This is my favorite spring fragrance. Has been for years. Not just my favorite cheap spring fragrance, but I had to recommend it. There's one I can definitely put the stamp of approval on for spring. Just check this out if you're looking for a good cheapie. It's John Varvatos Artisan Blue. And we might as well get the other predictable one out the way for my longtime subscribers. Yes, Maison Francis Kirkjohn Aqua Celestia Forte is indeed here. This is my other favorite spring fragrance, a very, very green type of fragrance. This one's all about lime, mint leaf, fresh petitgrain, all about greens. Fresh green, leafy green, citrus green, minty green, green, a little bit of musk. Elegant, quality stuff, great performance. Magnificent. One of my favorite fragrances Francis Kirkjohn's ever made. My favorite MFK over all the other magnificent fragrances he's put out. Your Grand Soirs, your Oud Satin Moods, your Baccarat Rouges, Universalis, let's see, Gentle Fluidity Silver, which gets a lot of love. L'homme à la Rose. I mean, there's so much beauty that this man has created in his own brand. This is my favorite. It's phenomenal for spring. I would encourage sampling it. It's quite pricey for a 70 ml, but if you get your nose on it, you're probably going to end up wanting a bottle because it can do it all in the spring. It really can do it year round, but ideally, because it's so green forward, it's perfect for spring. It's MFK Aqua Celestia Forte. Now, as far as that affordable entry-level niche I was talking about, highly versatile. Probably the most versatile daily wear choice of the 5 I have right here for spring. This is from Mancera. This is called Vetiver Sensuel. This is my 60 ml bottle. I scooped this up for like 44 bucks a while back from Fragrance Buy. 120 ml bottles will run you around $75, $80. It really is a lot of bang for your buck because you're going to get citruses, a little bit of fruits, nice fresh woody vetiver tone that offers a touch of smoke. It's not a dirty, earthy type of smell. It's clean, fresh, aromatic. Very well composed, great performance without being some kind of beast. It's like an 8 to 10 hour fragrance in longevity. I think 8+ hours is a good sweet spot for most fragrances. You're going to get that out of this one. Really good projection. You don't have to spray a lot. This is one that you can be modest with and still be noticed. This is one you can spray a little heavier with and you'll definitely be noticed. Nose fatigue, not a serious issue with this one, but everybody's different. You might go nose blind right away. You might never go nose blind. But one of Mancera's best when it comes to high-level versatility, grab and go, this can be the one type of fragrance. You might want to look into this one if you're good with fresh vetivers. You're looking for something like that. You want a nice woody aromatic fragrance with a nice dose of citruses. You might want to check out Mancera's Vetiver Sensuel. Now, don't get me wrong. You could wear this year-round. It's my favorite Carolina Herrera fragrance. Some of you know immediately when I say that where I'm going with this. It's blue as blue gets. It's sweet. It's fresh and spicy. It's crazy synthetic. It's musky and woodsy. It is bad boy Cobalt. I think it's ideal for spring. Spring and fall, I think, are the sweet spots, the transitional seasons. It works fine in the heat, but I think it works even better in the moderate heat. Like not super scorching hot, high humidity. Milder temperatures, anywhere from 60 to say 85 degrees Fahrenheit, I think is the sweet spot for this because it can be a little much. There's a lot of juicy, sweet plum. You got a nice sweet tone in the top. Great performer for me. I know some get weaker performance. I get 8+ hours, mainly like 8 hours range with this one. Good projection for about an hour and a half. And it's highly versatile. Again, you get sweetness at the top. It dries into a very fresh, musky, woody, almost shower gel-like blue type of fragrance that actually the sweetness tapers off as it dries. I love this stuff. This is my favorite bad boy fragrance. Hell, it's my favorite Carolina Herrera fragrance. And they got some really good iris fragrances even, like CH Passion, for example, that I think is masterfully composed. But when it comes to functionality and daily wear, for me, this is the one. It's great for spring. Bad boy Cobalt. And we got to talk about something really expensive. If you want to splurge, you want to really treat yourself, you want a nice, unique profile where you want zesty, bright, mouth-watering citrus with some greens and some darker elements as well that still maintain all the freshness. Mind Games is a great place to go with Vieri. Oh yes, we have a Mind Games fragrance here. I didn't want to riddle this list with Mind Games fragrances because for winter I could have just did Mind Games fragrances like Double Attack and French Defense. No, they're not here, but they're noteworthy since I'm talking about one. French Defense, the greatest cherry fragrance of all time. Boozy cherry, rich, sweet. Oh my God, you should try that. Double Attack, bitter chocolate. Oh, God, you gourmand lovers, try that. But if you want fresh greens, citron. I believe it's citron or it might even be like a grapefruit lemon combo with some fresh greens like petitgrain. It's leafy fresh green. You get a little bit of musk and woods. There's a hint of smoke to this one, but it doesn't take away from the freshness. This has depth while still maintaining all the freshness, high level quality here. There's a reason this stuff's expensive. It's not just because of the gorgeous chest piece bottle. Oh my, look, Mind Games is some expensive stuff. Sample, but definitely try some of these fragrances. I fell in love with this one. This is one of the ones I had to have a bottle of, and it's ideal for spring. It's citruses and fresh greens. It's amazing. It's Mind Games Vieri. Now this was the most challenging season, was winter. Because I got a lot of really good stuff here that got omitted. because I was just sticking with 5. We've got something cheap. We've got something expensive. We've got a few mid-level designers here. This is where certain, like if you like sweet designers and spicy designers, this is your season, okay? Speaking of, one of my favorites, my favorite Spice Bomb until further notice, Infrared Eau de Parfum, the last release. So the recording of this, Dark Leather is not out yet. That has potential to be my new favorite. Every year that seems to happen with them. I'm waiting until it drops on Viktor & Rolf's US website. I will buy it directly from the brand, like I normally do, like I did with this bottle. So here, fiery hot, red hot peppers still manages to bring in a nice hit of smoky resins and leather. Oh man, that's the thing. They're following up a leather forward fragrance with an even more leather forward fragrance. So I don't know how that's going to go, but this is incredible. Red is the right color because it's fiery hot chili pepper spice. It's amazing. It absolutely is, with these smoky resins and this nice robust leather accord. Great performance. This is the grown man Spice Bomb because you don't realize how playfully sweet Infrared Eau de Toilette is until you smell Infrared Eau de Parfum. Because Infrared Eau de Toilette's a lot of people's favorite. It's amazing. It's more of a bright, aromatic, pink pepper forward type of fragrance. Get a little bit of sweetness and brightness with that one, whereas this is more dark, rich, robust, and resinous. Perfect for the winter. Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Parfum. Now let's say you want something sweet. Nuclear Performer though. Le Male Elixir will get you there. This is so good. Jean-Paul Gaultier did a great job here. I do get elements of the original, the aromatic green feel, green notes and lavender here, but I also get a rich honey, tobacco, vanilla tonka bean combo. It's syrupy, thick, sweet, powdery. Little bit of earthiness. I don't distinctively smell it as tobacco, but there is a nice darker earthy element here that blends in with that thick sweetness that I know is this tobacco oil that they used. Compliment factor's high. Performance is crazy. 2 to 3 sprays is all you need. This stuff is crazy, crazy strong. But nice and cozy. Come hither type of stuff in the wintertime. Le Male Elixir. So I wanted to go something cheap here, but this is so spot on to another mid-level designer that I was like, well, I'll just go with the clone because it's like 35, 40 bucks versus like 100, 110. So I love the Strong With You line, and Strong With You Oud could have easily made it. Any of the Strong With Yous could make it here. But I went with Paris Corner's Pendora Scents line, Veteran Oud. This is a dead ringer for Strong With You Oud. Dead ringer. Roasted chestnut, leather, resins, has that sweetness and that spice of the original DNA with this nice woodsy tone. It's not really like a funky oud. It's more of a like dry spiced wood. It's a dead ringer. That's why it was so easy. It's like, I want to have something cheap in this lineup. This is a bargain and a half because it's the same fragrance. My Strong With You fragrance is right here. It's in the back. I might as well grab it. What the hell? It's a dead ringer. I've done a full review on this. It's a dead ringer, guys. I'm telling you. Very impressive type of stuff. I still would encourage getting the original if you got the money to spend, but if you don't want to spend the money. Paris Corner, they did a great job. Resinous, spiced chestnut. That's the big deciding factor here to separate the DNA, that roasted chestnut. Check out Paris Corner's Veteran Oud. Now, how about something more independently owned niche? We're going to talk about something very boozy, spicy gourmand, beignets, patisseries, very cinnamon forward, loads of bourbon and praline. City Rhythm, New Orleans Jazz and Booze. My favorite City Rhythm fragrance because of my New Orleans bias. I'm from 45 minutes southwest of New Orleans. This is crazy strong. Every time I smell it, it's outrageous what's coming through this atomizer. It's too much for the warmer weather. This is such a winter fragrance. I mean, you can get away with it in the fall. Just be mindful. One spray is probably plenty in the fall. But in the winter, you can dial it up a little bit more. It's 50% concentration, but still manages to be... It wears heavy, but it's still loud. Oh, man, is this loud. Look, he outdid himself with his newest one, Puerto Rico. And if I didn't have the New Orleans bias, that might be my number one. But it's my number two because this is just so good. This is my favorite boozy fragrance, and it really captures the alcoholism and the food, the elements, the essence of the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. He nailed this. City Rhythm. It's all about the travel and the stories, and he nailed this. You need to try this for winter. City Rhythm, New Orleans Jazz and Booze. And last but not least, this has a little bit of similarity to this. While tying to the original's DNA, it's Boss the Scent Elixir, one of the best releases of this year. It came out at the beginning of this year, but it's still the one to beat for me. This is the designer release of 2024, to beat for me. You get that sweet yet boozy Maninka fruit to this original DNA with a pimento red spice that ties it into smelling like a combination of Boss the Scent meets infrared eau de parfum. That's why I referenced that. Are they redundant? A little bit, but the DNA of this is the big separator, big time separator, because what you get in this, you can't get in this, and that's that distinctive Maninka fruit. You have a nice vetiver woody base. It's rich and ambery. Again, the Maninka here comes across more boozy than it does in other ones. This is phenomenal. Great performer. This is such a great release. I can't encourage you enough to check this one out, but it's very cold weather forward. So it's heavier and very, very spicy. Very spicy and warm is Boss the Scent Elixir. Well, there you have it. The only 20 fragrances you need to cover all 4 seasons. Now, does it have to be specifically these 20? No, but you get the idea. It's generating a thought process. Let's walk a path mentally together to get an idea in different price ranges, with cheap to designer to niche to indie, kind of what's out there and kind of what scent profiles really suit certain seasons really well. That's really what the moral of this story was. It doesn't have to be these specific fragrances, but they are there if you're interested in checking them out. I'll have links down below. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and love hearing from you guys. Of these 20, which ones are you familiar with? Which ones have you tried? Which ones kind of sparked your interest? Let me know down below. Until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these and give them a spray now. It's always a chance you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.